AI music now signing multi-million dollars. What are your thoughts? Let's get into it. So, if you guys haven't paying attention, you know that there is an AI artist right now that is going around. The artist's name is Xania Monet. Now, I heard a couple of tracks from her, and it seems pretty okay. It's not horrible, but it's not like Whitney Houston. And it's one of those things where if you like it, if you don't, you don't. But the interesting thing is a lot of people don't like it. I know when I say a lot of people, that means a lot of celebs who are already artists, they are not feeling it. Artists like Gayle King and artists that came out, I'm pretty sure a few others have expressed their discontent when it comes to this particular way of signing deals with specifically AI artists. And I'm gonna give you, of course, if you guys have not heard already, why they don't appreciate it, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts. It's an unpopular opinion, but I do want to express it. So a lot of the thoughts that's coming out is that a lot of people feeling as if they are going to get pretty much robbed by the industry because of the fact that now you have this AI artist who is ultimately signing multi-million dollar deals, and how it's being perceived is, of course, whoever put the AI artist together is going to be the one behind obviously controlling the music or creating it for the record label. However, people are feeling as if they are not going to get as much recognition. Maybe creations may not also now being played. Maybe it be harder for them to be played. Maybe it be harder for them to be signed, or maybe harder for them to even be taken seriously. Because we do understand the struggle when it comes to being an artist in all forms. But since we're talking about music specifically, we'll get into that. It's hard, right? You have to really grind. You from back in the day, you had to. Some people were selling CDs at their trunk. Some people selling CDs on the street, and at that time it was like for close to nothing, $5, maybe $10 if you were able to sell it for $10. Sometimes $2, right? Just to get people to hear you. Creating mixtapes was a lot of work. Being able to put that together and collab with other artists to be able to put that music out into the streets, and then ultimately to get into the radios to get as many plays as possible just to be seen on somebody's billboard. So we fast forward to today's time, and I get understanding that a lot of that work now is feeling as if it's in vain because somebody can come in and give a few prompts to an AI software and can create literally an artist and be able to get signed. I think it wouldn't be as big of a deal if they weren't able to be signed. I'll say that. And I understand that, but I'm also going to give you my perspective, right? I'm not shitting on artists at all because I understand what it's like. I have not gone that line, that path myself, just because it's not something I wanted to do, but I understand creating music. I am definitely a musician. I have learned and played many instruments in my life, where I've learned the piano was my first love and still is. I learned the clarinet. I've created music for the saxophone, and I've played all these instruments in different ways. And because I knew the work that is going to go into becoming an artist to be in the world at that time, it was not something I wanted to go down. So I'm gonna leave it at that as far as what I can do, right, and what I know of. So for me, I'm seeing the artists, I'm hearing the other artists who are already in the limelight right now. And granted, we know what the grind they did to get up here, because some of them I've definitely have learned since their early days and grown to see them transpire into who they are today and loving the growth. And I'm saying but very lightly. I feel as if it's also should make it easier for other artists who are coming up to be able to get more recognition. I feel like if they can combine their skills with an AI software that can help push them even further, I think a lot of people really stay on the mindset of it was so hard for me to do it. Now that we have something that can make it easier for you to do it, and it's not saying it's not like it's a software that's alienating artists already. It's saying this is a software that's just here for anybody to use. That also includes musicians, so they can actually take their art, put it into this software, and be able to create something beautiful and make it faster, in my opinion. Now, keep in mind, this is just my opinion. So you guys might have something different. Or for me, I'm thinking about it, I don't see it as something that should be as threatened, because it goes into a lot of different avenues where if we can go far back as when the internet first came to be and people were threatened by that. People were threatened by online dating. People were threatened when every time change took place, people were threatened, right? And now, even when AI first got on the scene, people were threatened because not even just AI, but autonomous jobs were being taken place. So they were, of course, by robots, and people were feeling like they were being shitted on. But in my mind, it goes back into that thought process of what is the positives? Because if we stay looking at the negatives, then we're never gonna really enjoy what the positives could really do for us. So even if yes, you may have won this particular job for 50 years, and now a machine is coming in to replace you, in a sense, I feel like it's giving you more time to be with your family. I feel like it's giving you more time to do things that you love. I feel like it's giving you more time to focus on other passions, right? And some of us, we get so caught up in the rat race that we feel like without it, we don't have any substance, right? And I know people kept saying, well, what is going to be a benefit? How are we going to do live shows right now? I'm not expecting them to do live shows, to be honest with you. If anything, it might be a hologram. And I'm just being realistic about that. It might be a hologram. And do not be surprised if those shows get sold out. It's because of the day and age that we are in right now. And the generation that's coming up, they are not so gun ho about the mentality of how it was when we were coming up, hell, when I was coming up. Whereas I feel like a lot of us, we love the struggle and appreciate it so much that we want the people who are in the generations coming up behind us, we want them to also appreciate it and to also feel it. But honestly, most of them aren't going to. Most of them don't even really understand slavery. And if you ask them right now, unless you are teaching it to them yourselves, because as we know, schools aren't really doing it, for example, right? So when it comes to some things, we're talking about specifically I know it's a scary thing, but at the same time, I'm looking at how you can utilize it to make your life easier, to make your life better. I'm looking at that as how you can improve what you are currently already doing and maximize on it with the use of AI. It's one of those things where you can't sit back and cry and say, oh, AI is going to destroy me or AI is going to destroy me when you're not getting up to go do something about it, when you're not getting up to go and learn how to maneuver it, learn how to control it, learn how to code it. It's a lot of different things that can take place. And I think a lot of people don't want to learn a new skill, so they rather bash the stuff that's being done now and feel as if things are being taken away. Because if it's not this, it's going to be something else. It's always going to be something different that's going to change. It's always going to be something else that you need to, that you're going to have to adapt to. At the end of the day, this is how the world is. We might be used to something and comfortable to doing something and seeing something in a certain type of way, but at the end of the day, things are going to change whether we like it or not. And my biggest thing is I'm wanting to make sure that I am, if not ahead of the curve, but right next to it, because I cannot be behind it. Because as somebody who is in business, me being behind the curve is also going to make my business suffer. Same thing when it comes to artists and musicians. Ultimately, that is your business. If you are going to keep fighting what is taking place, eventually it is going to affect your business. It's going to affect your money. It's going to affect a lot of different things. Now, granted, we still got vintage things that are taking place where antiques are still a thing. So you might have those people that are like, I want the old fashioned, and they'll come to you, and that's okay. So be prepared for either or, but I say don't shut it out completely. That's just my perspective on it. Again, I feel like it's a very unpopular opinion because no matter how many times I watch these posts on Instagram and other platforms, nobody is talking about the benefit of it except for Timberland, right? And again, I feel like because it's Timberland, it's gonna start making other people start thinking differently and start merging the two. It's not a situation where you have to feel like it's competing. Because if that was the case, granted, you might see that now when it comes to music and the industry and how artists are amongst themselves as humans, where they are usually always competing. But then you also have to think about it. If you stay in your own lane, you don't have to worry about that. If you stay in your lane and learn what you need to learn and do what you need to do, you don't have to worry about competing with nobody. And eventually, the work is going to speak for itself. If we can stop worrying about Cardi against Nikki and Megan against Cardi and a whole bunch of other things that don't necessarily need to be taking place, it would not be that big of a deal. They would still have their own lane. They would still make their own money. They would still have their own group of. They would still have their own following. You see what I'm saying? So it goes back to even something as simple as what I do right now. When I was a graphic designer and Fiverr and other things like that started picking up, and even Canva started picking up, I figured that what was the point of me doing graphic design because now everybody is doing it. But then lo and behold, there's still a clientele out there that still needs the work, that is still requesting it because they also cannot figure out these other systems. So there's people like us who have the eye, who have been doing it for a while, to be able to help them and put them into that realm and create it for them. And you can still create a business out of it by learning how to merge it. by learning how to make it work together. So that is my perspective on the AI artist. I really don't have any ill will. Granted, I might be looking at this thing with my eyes wide open and really maybe possibly looking at it very naively. But right now, I feel like it's something to embrace. I'm not a type of person that's gonna be like, oh no, put an X on it. We're not trying to mess with it and stomp on it and keep it far away from me. Because ultimately, what's gonna be happening is that same thing that you're trying to avoid is gonna be the same thing that's gonna come back to hurt you because you didn't want to learn it. It goes back into so many different things. We can touch on so many different things when it comes to even the gay community, where so many people are scared of it because they didn't know what it consisted of. They weren't sure how it came to be. So because they don't know, they chastised, and out with that chastising, they created harm. And then because, and even through that, the community started growing on its own. And now look at where the community is at right now, where almost any and everybody is gay or non-binary. And it's not as a big as of a deal, depending on who you're talking to, when it comes to just that specific topic in itself. But if you aren't sure of how to feel about this AI artist that is getting signed, I would say do your research. I would say touch on Suno, which is the app that was used to create the music by them. There are a lot of ways. For one, you can make money off of these things. There are a lot of ways that if you are an artist, you can combine it or get some tips or have some ways where you can help it amplify your sound, not necessarily your voice, but your sound. And you can even let people know, hey, I did this, I merged this, but this is me. You can see me in concert live. Having that be done, and you would be surprised of how far it can go, because these same artists are factually growing on Spotify, factually creating millions of views on TikTok, and are getting monetized. So I'm not trying to be shied away from that. I would rather want to jump on it and figure out what it is I also need to do. If you want to keep, I wish this would change, I want to go back to the way things were, and feel as if everything is coming after you, by all means do that. But I promise you, there's no money in it. So if you want to get on the money train and start making to where you can start really understanding and controlling and have power over what it is you can make and how you can create things, learn AI in your own way and make it work for you. At the end of the day, though, it's going to serve its purpose because you have learned how to use it.